fate of Thaksin linked to political fate of the kingdom, as Chuwit predicts his return deal is off at this time. Thaksin faces a momentous personal decision to run the gauntlet of being arrested at Don Mueang Airport and lodged at Bangkok Remand Prison on Thursday, August 10, with the prospects of a 10-year jail term ahead of him and potential future charges, while the Pheu Thai Party faces instantaneous loss of its long-term support base if it enters a coalition government as part of a super deal with parties associated with the outgoing government and the former military junta. A deal is reported to be in place, but over the weekend, doubts were reported to be setting in. The return of former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra is becoming enmeshed with the current power struggle at a political level going on between conservative and progressive forces after the general election threw up a result which has put the Pheu Thai Party in the center of the political spectrum, with the capability of swinging political power in Thailand from one group to another. The fate of Mr. Thaksin, who is the de facto leader of the party, has thus become linked to the political fate of the country and is at the confluence of a plot hatched by the Conservatives to break up the 8-party coalition pact signed by the Move Forward Party, the Pheu Thai Party and 6 other smaller parties for a government of hope on the 22nd of May 2023, 9 years to the day after the 2014 coup d'état. On Friday, the planned return of Mr. Thaksin on August 10 to Thailand, announced by his daughter on July 26, was thrown into doubt when Mr. Chuwit Kamal visit. The political activist, who has a knack for detecting what is happening behind the scenes, revealed that Mr. Thaksin has gotten cold feet, fearing that he may be the victim of deception. Plans have been finalized to receive former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, right, at Don Mueang Airport on August 10 and arrest him, bring him before a court and lodge him in prison. On Friday night, whistleblower Chuwit Kamal visit said the deal was off as the former Prime Minister smelt a rat, while his daughter, Ms. Pheu Shinawatra, later described Mr. Chuwit's assertion as baseless. The return to Thailand of Mr. Thaksin is reportedly linked to a new government of reconciliation between old yellow and red shirt parties, including the Palang Prakarat Party led by General Prawit Wongsuwan and the Pheu Thai Party led by Dr. Kulin Sriko, to the exclusion of the current pro-democracy and progressive Move Forward Party led by Mr. Pita Limjaroenrat, whose color is orange. The secret deal being hatched would break up the 8-party government of hope pact signed on 22nd of May 2023. Left up until Friday in Bangkok, it was accepted that former Premier Thaksin Shinawatra would be returning to Thailand on August 10 next. He was expected to land at Don Mueang Airport. On Friday afternoon, the Director General of the Department of Corrections, a youth Sintopant, came forward to assure the public that the former Premier would be safely incarcerated in prison after his arrest on August 10 by Immigration Bureau officers on arrival back in Thailand. Acting Minister of Justice, on Friday, gave assurances regarding Mr. Thaksin's treatment and security in prison on his return to Thailand to face justice. It followed confirmation from Acting Minister of Justice and Deputy Prime Minister Sonukriya Ngam, the government's legal advisor, who explained that on being arrested at Don Mueang Airport, where he was expected to arrive aboard a private jet, Mr. Thaksin would be taken to court where 3 orders for imprisonment would be confirmed against him. The plan is that Mr. Thaksin would be taken to Bangkok Remand Prison, where special facilities are thought to have been prepared for him, not air-conditioned rooms as anti-corruption activist Mr. Chuwit Kamal visit has claimed, but a room for senior prisoners with a fan and with round-the-clock security, as Mr. Thaksin is expected to be treated as a special prisoner because of his unique status and the potential danger to him in the prison system. He is to have specially appointed guards to ensure his safety. Chuwit shattered the narrative on Friday as questions also grew for the Pheu Thai Party as to what links there might be to Thaksin's reported return. However, on Friday this supposition was shattered when the country's arch-truth-teller Mr. Chuwit came out to suggest that Thaksin had got wind of deception linked with his planned return by the conservative establishment and had cancelled it. The game had taken a new twist according to Chuwit. Thaksin is retreating and has cancelled his plans to return to Thailand. The situation has changed, Mr. Chuwit telegraphed his followers in a social media post. He talked obliquely about the lyrics to a love song where a man is deceived again and again by a woman, as he explained the potential danger that may be facing Thaksin back in Thailand. That danger has a strong political context, and this was alluded to by Acting United Front for Democracy Against Dictatorship, UDD, leader Theta Thavorn said on Friday, also when she suggested that she believed that the former Prime Minister may have become a political hostage. Fears grow that Thaksin has become a pawn for conservatives to break the 8-party Democratic Pact. The country's traditional establishment and elite, including its military and civil establishment, is facing a radical challenge to how the government is run. Talk of a government of reconciliation chimes neatly with the rhetoric being used by Palang Prakarat Party leader Deputy Prime Minister Prawit Wongsuwan in March. In March of this year, In the run-up to the May 14 general election, General Prawit Wongsuon, the leader of the Pulong Prakarat Party, spoke of this elite in Thailand's power hierarchy when he warned that there were still people who favored the use of military intervention or a coup d'état to solve political stalemates or crises in the kingdom. Deputy Prime Minister Prawit Wongsuon warns that those in power who support coups still exist. General Prawit continued to put himself forward in this year's election as a peacemaker between the two groups and talked of a process of reconciliation in Thai politics. His party repeatedly floated the prospect of a breakthrough super deal with the Pheu Thai Party, a pact between the yellow and red shirt groups of Thai politics, the former being conservatives, the latter populists. However, a new threat to that political order emerged in the shape of the Move Forward Party, a party represented by the color orange, that is no longer reliant on populist policies synonymous with Pheu Thai and Thaksin Shinawatra, but whose radical agenda is the reform of the kingdom and adherence to purely democratic principles in its governance. Thai color-coded politics changed inconveniently to orange on May 14 just when yellow conservatives and red populists thought they would reconcile. It is understood that this challenges key power elements in Thailand, which is governed by an elite, including wealthy patrons, business people and members of the ruling apparatus who aspire to keep the country running on a more traditional track. They warn against the danger of the Move Forward Party and its agenda, for instance, as the United Thai Nation, Ruam Thai Sang Chart, party of General Pheu Thai did in the closing days of the May 14 election. It published a controversial video cautioning that the modern or Western values being espoused by the Move Forward Party were ultimately not good for Thailand and would see a return to chaos and strife on the streets while the country would lose touch with its traditional culture. Dark predictions as the opposition parties look set to sweep to power in next weekend's general election. This refrain could be seen in the combative debate which we saw on July 19 in Parliament during the nomination of Mr. Peter Limjaro and Rat as Prime Minister in a 6-hour debate where members of the conservative benches portrayed the Move Forward Party as a cult controlling the young population of Thailand, posing a terrible danger to the country. Thailand is facing a deep political crisis as Peter loses key vote and top court takes up complaints. In this current political climate, the establishment parties see the Pheu Thai Party as a key swing factor in controlling the rise of the Move Forward Party. Thaksin and Pheu Thai's position is currently fraught with real danger as both contemplate abandoning their support bases for short-term expediency. Many political commentators have noted, as has Mr. Chuwit on Friday and Saturday, that Mr. Thaksin can be considered the de facto leader of the Pheu Thai Party, and the current week has seen that borne true, with the leadership of that party, in recent days, appearing to be in a state of confusion and stasis as reports came through of this backroom deal between conservative elements and political parties and Pheu Thai, which still appears to cling to its commitment to the 8-party coalition pact which the Move Forward Party has resolved not to pull out of, leaving Pheu Thai with a massive political dilemma. Pheu Thai may face a terrible dilemma as outgoing government parties still aim for power and PM vote. On Sunday, some reports suggested that Pheu Thai is beginning to see the danger of the current position it finds itself in. Perhaps influenced by Ms. Theta Thavornset and Mr. Chuwit Kamal visit, political analysts have warned that if the party crosses the line and gives its support to a new government, which sources have confirmed it is planning to do, made up of parties associated with the previous ministry, in particular the Pulong Prakarat Party led by General Prawit Wongsuon and the United Thai Nation, Ruam Thai Sang Chart, party which was associated in the election with outgoing Prime Minister General Pheu Thai, all will be lost for its political future. The warnings suggest that the party which won the 2011 general election and is the successor to a political movement, associated with Mr. Thaksin and his family, which won 3 elections before that in 2001, 2005 and 2007, will find itself instantly severed from its support base and facing decimation in the next election. Trend of the country is clear. Thailand's younger generation wants change and a full democracy along Western lines without constraint or authoritarianism. The establishment is understood to have been severely shocked by the May 14 general election result where the Move Forward Party, which arose from the dissolution of the Future Forward Party, struck down by the Constitutional Court in February 2020, robbed home as the election winner, winning 151 seats in the House of Representatives and more than doubling the tally achieved by Future Forward in the 2019 election. Future Forward Party dissolved, leadership banned from politics by Constitutional Court order. The trend is clear for the establishment. The youth and younger generation of Thailand aspire to a true and full democracy along modern lines as seen in Western countries and not an authoritarian mode of government as seen in Cambodia, Myanmar, Vietnam, Laos, Hong Kong or China. Mr. Chuwit referred to this struggle on Saturday when he revealed that Mr. Thaksin had changed tack. Mueang strongly reaffirmed, on Saturday, that former Prime Minister Thaksin will return to Thailand on August 10, dismissed Chuwit's claims as baseless. Mr. Chuwit suggested that the ex-premier may not have been serious about returning to Thailand in the first place. His assertion came in the face of a statement on Saturday from Mueang or Ms. Pheu Thai, the daughter of Mr. Thaksin, who is one of 3 prime ministerial nominees of the Pheu Thai Party and who has been touted as being favoured by General Chuwit and his cohort of senators in the forthcoming parliamentary votes if put forward, this week, by an anonymous source claiming to be from the Pheu Thai Party, actively briefing the media. Mueang reaffirmed on Saturday that she believed her father would return on August 10 and described Mr. Chuwit's claims as baseless in the strongest possible terms. Mr. Chuwit, also on Saturday, referred to the possibility of Mr. Thaksin being granted a royal pardon on his first day in prison and pointed out that a royal pardon under such circumstances has never been granted except to offenders under Article 112 for lèse-majesté. He claimed that those sentenced to prison for corruption or fraud had never been given a royal pardon at the commencement of a prison term and that this should have been evidence enough for Mr. Thaksin to cancel his plans to return to Thailand indefinitely. Chuwit questioned reports of a quick pardon. The wily Bangkok businessman, a former politician himself and who made his name and fortune as the operator of a massage parlor empire in the 80s and 90s, is himself no stranger to the prison system, having been jailed several times over his business activities after protracted legal battles. Chuwit said he quite understood the denial of his claims by Mueang, as she wanted to see her father return to Thailand as, like any good daughter, she wished to see him return to his home country and potentially be reunited with his family. Ms. Pheu Thai announced the return of her father on July 26, his birthday, in a social media post. Mr. Thaksin, who was Thai Prime Minister from 2001 to 2006 in what was seen by many in Thailand as a golden era for the economy and the fortunes of the poor, is now 74 years old. Emotional message on social media by Pheu Thai on July 26 announcing Thaksin's return on August 10 after 15 years in exile. In her emotional message, Mueang wrote that she could scarcely believe what she was writing, and that her father would definitely return to Thailand on August 10. Reports afterwards confirmed that preparations within the government, including within the Immigration Bureau for his arrest and the Department of Corrections for his incarceration, were well advanced. Mr. Thaksin's imminent return to Thailand has been a regular feature of news cycles since he left the country, both at the time of the 2006 coup d'état and after August 2008, when he skipped bail on a visit to China to evade jail sentences which were subsequently handed down in a series of criminal trials. On July 31, 2008, he promised a Thai court that he would return on August 11 after attending the Olympic Games that year in Beijing, where he was a guest of the Chinese government but later surfaced in the United Kingdom. Thaksin faces up to 10 years in prison on 3 key charges which are still effective against him. Thaksin faces 10 years in prison without parole and the possibility of further charges being brought against ex-PM by the Anti-Corruption Commission. One relates to corruption linked with the lottery in Thailand, for which he was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Another relates to a 4 billion loan from the Export-Import Bank of Thailand, Exim, concerning his companies, Thaicom and Shin Corporation, for which he was sentenced to 3 years. And the third relates to his Shin Corp holding firm regarding the use of nominee shareholders and other abuses, for which he was given terms of imprisonment of 5 years and 3 years. All these sentences were specified as without parole. The latter is the last to be effective under Thailand's particular statute of limitations provisions, where prison sentences can also become ineffective if the accused is not brought before the courts, until July 30, 2030. Statute of limitations has expired on one charge. One conviction already expired on October 21, 2018, linked to the purchase of land in the Ratchadaphisek area of Bangkok, the first case brought against him. However, despite all this, there are still many potential charges to be brought against Mr. Thaksin, according to a senior official at the National Anti-Corruption Commission, NACC, this week. Some of these relate to Mr. Thaksin's involvement in the procurement of aircraft for Thai Airways, which was forced into bankruptcy in May 2020 but which has now made a spectacular recovery under a rescue plan approved by the courts. Mr. Thaksin has always claimed that the legal moves against him were politically motivated.